Hi, this is Dr. Salt, and we are live here and answering your questions about all things functional medicine, all things whole life wellness. And we're going to start a series today on the modifiable lifestyle factors. Can you remember what all those are?
Well, today we're going to be starting off with sleep.
Yeah. Sleep. And then tomorrow, exercise and movement. So sleep and relaxation today, exercise and movement tomorrow, nutrition, then
relationships,
stress, and then relationships. Yeah. All right. So the 10 things that happen to your body when you lose sleep. Number 1, particularly important right now, you get sick. So sleep deprivation is one of the very fastest ways to reduce, hi Jody.
Hey Jody.
To reduce your immune response. And hi Mandy. So how many hours of sleep?
7 to 9.
7 to 9, and it depends. I have a piece of paper here someplace. I thought I had it right on top, but I don't. That talks about sleep by age. So sleep by age, if you're a newborn, like Mandy is, just trying to find a name there. Hi, Kathy. 14 to 17 hours if you're a newborn. If you're an infant, 12 to 16 hours. And toddler, a little more, up to 14 hours. A preschooler, maybe 13 hours. School age, 6 through 12, something more like 12 hours, 9 to 12. And unfortunately, most school agers are actually getting more like 5 to 7. So they're really at high risk. And then adolescents, 8 to 10 hours. And again, adolescents are the worst. They're really getting 5 to 7 hours. And then adults, 7 to 9, with 8 being average. And average means that half of people need more than 8. And I'm a 9-hour person. I just know I am. I always feel better when I have 9 hours behind me. So getting that full 8 hours or more of sleep is really critical to an immune response. But it doesn't mean more is better. Sleeping 40 hours a day, being facetious, doesn't really fix anything. So the next thing. Wow, it's beautiful here. Yeah, it is. It's really nice. A beautiful day. Your heart suffers. You aren't able to dampen your autonomic nervous system responses when you're sleep deprived. Your blood pressure goes up, your risk for stroke goes up, your risk for heart attack goes up. Nothing good happens. There's nothing good that happens if you don't sleep. Let me maybe hand you this. If I can get him to let go. So it's COVID, and I'm licking my lips trying to get this, but this is paper that's been in our house for a long time, and we haven't been out. So
no, we haven't been out. It's starting to show.
Yes. Yes. I was trying to get ready for this, and the kids were having a meltdown, and Elizabeth was asking me a question, and I just you know what, I'm trying to get this ready. I can't. And that didn't sit well with anybody involved, so sorry about that. Your cancer risk increases when you're sleep deprived. Specifically, breast cancer, colorectal cancer, prostate cancer, they all increase. And there is a significant burden borne by people who are shift workers. Oh, hi, Sean. How are you doing?
Hi, Sean. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Jane. So, shift workers, and particularly like Sean, a nurse right now, probably knee deep, probably neck deep in all kinds of things. working long hours, extra hours. It's hard to stay rested. And like we started off, rest really important for your immune system, but it also increases your risk of cancers.
And it also affects your memory. You're more forgetful. You can't remember things. I definitely noticed that with me. I didn't sleep well last night because of my 6-year-old, so I've already been in the twilight zone today, and now the evening's coming, so I really feel like my energy is low, and definitely had a harder time thinking today and problem solving, and that all goes with the lack of sleep that I got last night.
Yeah, so it's not just forgetfulness. It's actually that your cognitive ability is decreased. And this is easily measurable, and it only takes an hour loss of sleep. You know, for me, I'm a 9-hour person. If I get 8 hours of sleep, it's measurable. And your irritability goes through the roof, too. And, you know, you wonder why surgeons are always these irascible SOBs. Well, because they're always sleep deprived. That's one of the reasons. They're always sleep deprived. So cognitive flexibility, emotional regulation, forgetfulness, which all leads to more accidents. I have a statistic someplace in this pile of pictures. I think it's like a really high percentage of accidents. Far more accidents are related to 5,000 to 6,000 fatal crashes each year are probably caused by drowsy drivers, and that's actually a bigger number than drunk driving.
And it's also, the quality of sleep you get. So maybe someone has sleep apnea that's not diagnosed, and they're not getting adequate sleep, and they're finding that they're more tired throughout the day. So there's also sleep disorders, or maybe you have a hard time falling asleep, or maybe you have a hard time staying asleep. Maybe you're one of those people who consistently wakes up during the night and you can't fall back asleep. So what do you recommend for people that just can't get the consistent amount of sleep because they just physically can't sleep?
Yeah, well, let's, I'm going to get to that. How about if we go through our list here and then we'll...
The last one on mine is you gain weight. Oh, and your libido diminishes. Not getting enough sleep could reduce your sex drive.
And it's actually, oh good, the dogs are going to go swimming now. Hi, buddy. The issue here is that testosterone levels fall dramatically, like by 15 to 25% with just a couple of hours decreased sleep. And then, yeah, weight gain.
People who sleep less than 5 hours of sleep a night showed an increased risk of becoming obese.
And then your risk of diabetes goes through the roof. 10 separate studies have shown that your risk of diabetes goes up if you're not getting that 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And then you become accident prone, as I already talked about. And then lastly, it's bad for your skin. If your skin is bad, take a look at your sleep. Oh crap, this is not good for me. Sleep has always been a challenge for me. Yep, and then Yolanda, hi Yolanda. So how do you sleep was your question to me. Well, it starts shortly after you wake up in the morning. You know, most of us start out maybe with a bit of a neck, and then we end the day without a neck, right? Because we're stressed. And being aware of your angst and anxiety and your level of stress throughout the day, and maybe even setting your watch or your phone. I was going to pull my phone out and show it to you, but it's right there. Pulling out your phone, setting an alarm, an hourly chime, so that every hour you just kind of roll your shoulders, take a couple of deep breaths, and take an inventory of your angst and anxiety level and try to manage that. That's really important. So it starts basically first thing in the morning by controlling that angst and anxiety all the way up till the afternoon. And then it's, managing stimulants. You know, how many of us, because we feel crappy, we're getting through the day by drinking caffeine all day long. It's either pop or it's coffee or it's something, right? Well, you got to limit that, and especially for me, after noon, but, really after about 3 p.m., limit that. And then towards bedtime, you need to stop the stimulating activity. So if you're playing video games, you got to knock that off. If you're watching TV shows, you got to knock that off. If you're, you got to prepare for sleep. You don't just turn off the electronics and boom, you're asleep. You need to prepare for sleep. So that takes a good hour, 30 minutes minimum, but for most people, an hour.
For me, it's almost a couple hours that I need, like 2 hours of not screen time, and that includes even watching television for me. I've just always been more sensitive to that and have always had issues sleeping up until the last, I would say the last year or so. I finally have been able to really regulate my sleep cycle.
Yeah, so, there's, in the old days, I think it was in the 1940s, the average American got 9 hours of sleep. In the 1950s, it went down to 8 hours, and now it's like 6.5, not quite 7 hours of sleep on average. And a lot of this has to do, like, one of my old patients, he was like 100 years old, he was an old farmer. He used to joke that the worst thing that ever happened to farming was electric lights, because he used to joke and say his wife could only hold a candle out in front so long before her arm got tired and they had to quit plowing. And the old gas lanterns on his horse-drawn plows weren't very good. And then when they got electricity, boy, they could just work all night. And it's the same thing for us. We've got houses that light up. It's not just one, when I was a kid, it was sort of one light in the middle of the room and one phone in the house. Now everybody carries a phone around in their pocket, and we light up our houses like it's middle of summer. So, our circadian rhythms are really messed up. So really trying to get back to that natural rhythm, dimming down lights at least 30 minutes, preferably an hour, or like she said, maybe a couple of hours before bedtime, instead of watching something that's coming at you like a screen. Something in a dimmed light that you're just reading can be more soothing, or just maybe having a quiet conversation instead of busy. We think that we can be hyper busy until the last possible minute and then somehow turn it off. It doesn't work that way. So it's the lead up all day long to sleep. And then if you're having trouble sleeping, what kinds of things can you do? Well, we have a whole giant checklist on sleep hygiene. In fact, I'll post that below. And then I really find that most people, what does Yolanda have to say here? I like to stretch in the evening, usually after a hot shower or Epsom salt bath. Then a diffuse essential oil like lavender. Yeah, absolutely. And there's more to that too, if I can.
Lavender oil.
Yeah. We have a lot of lavender oil. I can't get the thing to expand. It's going to take your magic touch, I think. Lavender oil can be very helpful. A warm bath, let me see, one touch and it fixes it. A warm bath, a hot shower, some warm milk, a lot of things like that. Some lavender oil. Yeah, it has tryptophan in it.
Right, I know. I think a lot of us think of drinking warm milk, and maybe, at least I cringe.
Yeah, me too. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, but that's what some people talk about.
How about supplements? Is there a supplement that you'd recommend if maybe somebody, maybe it's just been a stressful day and you're not going to be able to get a good night's sleep? What can you take on those emergency nights? Something that hopefully...
So my first go for most people is melatonin. Someplace between 0.5 and 3 milligrams, maybe as high as 9 milligrams in really stubborn cases. Melatonin doesn't put you to sleep, but it allows the chemicals that put you to sleep to work better. And for many people, that works really, really well. The caveat is use the smallest dose you can get away with, because it does cause technicolor dreams. Many people find that they dream very, very vividly when they're on melatonin. Another thing is 5-hydroxytryptophan. 5-hydroxytryptophan helps promote sleep, someplace between 50 and 200 milligrams at bedtime. And we have a product called liposomal sleep aid, which is a mixture of a few things, including some melatonin and a liposomal background so that it's absorbed better. We have a couple of other sleep things on the website as well. I would also say, though, that for many people, the reason they can't get to sleep is because they have ongoing increasing, great, my battery's low, ongoing increasing angst throughout the day. So taking something like L-theanine can be very, very helpful.
Yeah, for me, I have found I didn't do so well with melatonin. So I take 5-HTP and L-theanine and also some magnesium. And I find that to be quite relaxing.
Well, hi, Pam. Must be pretty early in Alaska, huh? Yeah, so there's a few ideas. My dad used to say a large hammer worked really well. Because he was trying to get the kids to go to sleep. So sleep. Sleep is super important, and sleep is, if you think about the modifiable lifestyle factors, everybody knows that they don't, but they know they should be eating better. Everybody knows they should exercise, even though they don't. Everybody knows that they should manage stress, even though they don't. Everybody knows their relationships are really important, even though they ignore them. The problem is, it's not that we ignore sleep. We don't even know it's important most of the time. So really being careful and even though you can't guarantee you're going to get 8 hours of sleep if you're laying in bed for 8 hours, at least give yourself the opportunity to sleep. You got to be in your bed and in an environment conducive to sleep every night for at least the right amount of time. If you have an after dinner snack, is there certain snacks that are best? Well, so I would avoid eating probably 3 hours before bedtime. In fact, it's probably better to avoid eating for many more hours than that before bedtime. If you're going to have a snack, something light, you probably don't want to have a Culver's snacker, which is a burger, fries, and Coke at 10 p.m. So something light, berries or fruit, or definitely something that doesn't have caffeine. And everybody has their own sensitive foods. For most people, anything that's going to be highly processed is going to be a bad idea. All right. If we end abruptly, it's because my battery is dying. And I think we're about done anyway, unless there are more questions. So tomorrow, just to give you the heads up again, we're going to talk kind of right across the bottom of the functional medicine matrix. Today was about sleep, and really talked about preparing, and I'm going to put a sleep document in the comments below if I can figure out how to do it. And then tomorrow we'll talk about exercise and movement and how that can affect your immune system. And hopefully by the end of this week, I said this last week, I know, but hopefully by the end of this week, or maybe even sooner, we're coming out with our whole life immune support program. It's a quiz you take. There's about 100 questions on the quiz, and then it spits out a highly customized idea about where in your life your immune system might be the most challenged and how to fix it. And it goes through the diet and lifestyle part in excruciating detail, and then also recommends supplements and things like that. All right, so any other questions or concerns, or any questions about anything? Let's say I didn't know what's the scenic view or Elizabeth? No. That's right.
That's very sweet of you.
The scenic view or Elizabeth? I noticed nobody talked about me. Thanks. Yeah, we're very fortunate. We live on a peninsula surrounded by water, and
there's squirrels running up in the trees and birds right now, and so
yeah.
We needed this tonight.
Yeah, we had a nice walk today, but we're all kind of corralled in the house like everybody else. Yusuf, Buddy, and Jane. Let's see. Oh yeah, me too. My voice is so peaceful. There you go. Yep. So, Yusuf, you came in late. I think we were talking about the importance of sleep in immunity. Yusuf is a physician. He's on faculty with the Institute of Functional Medicine, along with me, and he's one of my good buddies. Thanks for showing up. And we're just about to sign off. So tomorrow is exercise and movement and its influence on immunity. All right, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. If I can find the button. Let's see what it's in.
Oh.
Man candy. Yeah, that's me. And once again, I can't